Thank you so much, Charlotte. An honor and a privilege to be with this New Freedom family this evening, and welcome to anyone who's new to our meeting. We're so glad you're here. And yeah, my name is Bronagh. I'm recovered and grateful compulsive overeater living in Northern Ireland, and yeah, happy to be online with all of you, wherever you are in the world. So I want to start with the step 3 prayer, if that's okay, because yeah, I want to offer ourselves, I'm going to go in the we form. God, we offer ourselves to you to build with us and to do with us as you will. Relieve us of the bondage of self that we may better do your will. Take away all of our difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those we would help of your power, your love, and your way of life. May we do your will always. Amen. So, yeah, a quick insight into my choosing of deep down within. Yeah, I prayed about it, and I thought I was going to be sharing on there is a solution, and my higher power had other ideas. So we're going to look at deep down within, but I want to qualify for a couple of minutes first of all. So, yeah, I from childhood days was very interested in food. And as soon as I lived on my own as a teenager, after I left to go to college, it was like free fall, because I then had the freedom to buy and to get access to food, and I needed it. And it just, yeah, I was at college and stressed and doing projects and doing different things, and I needed the food, and I would stay up all night building models. I was studying architecture at the time and sticking my fingers together with super glue, and I needed food. I needed something to keep me going, you know. And then I figured, oh well, if I just don't buy it, then I'll be fine, you know. And that didn't work for long, because I needed food. And so life went on, that food became and was very much a crutch for me going through life. And I went on and changed my studies and changed to study something else. And I needed food even more then, because yeah, I needed food to write essays. I needed food to go out and to socialize with other people. But I would never eat in front of other people. I would wait until I'd come home. I'd eat very normally in front of other people, and as soon as I go home, I'd have to make up for all that I hadn't eaten, how I try to behave in front of other people. And I hid it, and I isolated, and people had no idea. That's the way I lived. And yeah, what could you see from the outside? Because I was very busy putting on a show, a front on the outside. And what could you see on the outside? You could see somebody who, yeah, was busy acting, you know, whether people picked up on that or not. I just couldn't get on with life. I would make a good start at things, but it's like the film says, failure to launch. Things would go well for a while, and then I'd come back to my parents' house and stay there for a while, because life was crashing and burning. And depression is a part of my story, and you know, mental health went downhill as soon as I picked up the food. And for me, the periods of not using the food became fewer and farther between, because yeah, I couldn't deal with it. You know, my power of choice had long gone, and food, yeah, I always identify that it's like I hand my wrists over, and you know, I got the handcuffs on, and food led me away, and the disease took me, powerless over it completely, and powerless over an awful lot that I had absolutely no idea what I suffered from. So when I got to my first OA meeting, you know, I think it had been a good 6 months before I got worked up the courage to get there, full of fear. I had no idea, you know, I'll go next week. Oh, I'll try it next time. And I'd get to the car. I got to the car park of a meeting one time, and I can't see where this is. And, you know, reversed out of there. And very quickly, well, I tried. And it took a lot more eating then for me to get actually into a meeting. And when I got there, my obsession was also with control and trying to minimize the effects of the food that I ate. So when I got there, I wasn't particularly overweight, and I was waiting for people to tell me, you're not that bad, you can go on ahead home. And nobody said that to me. You know, I didn't know what to expect. Face-to-face meeting, the person opened the door.
5 minutes, go.
Thanks. The person opened the door and was more than kind to me. And at that meeting, I heard people living their lives. I heard people getting on with life without food. And I was just like, how on earth are they doing this? How on earth have they opened my head and know exactly what I did with food? So I'd found an answer, and I'd found some hope. And as I kept coming back, I found a whole lot more hope. So for me, I've always been sponsored through the Big Book. But it was a number of times I'd been through the Big Book before the penny dropped. You know, the whole point of this Big Book is for me to find a power greater than myself. And I was like, whoa, why didn't nobody ever tell me that before? You know, because the penny hadn't dropped, but that's what the whole thing was about. You know, finding a spiritual solution, finding, like, it's right there in step 3, it's right there in all the 12 steps, but I'd missed it. I don't know what, I was too busy, still obsessed with the food, I guess. So like I come in, eventually got the courage to ask somebody to sponsor me because I was petrified. I don't know what I thought she was going to say, but I barely could even say my name. I couldn't have talked for more than 2 minutes, you know, to anybody. And you know, it really, I relied so much on who I sat beside in those meetings, because I couldn't have spoken out. I was relying totally on somebody sitting beside me and asking me maybe how I was, because I wasn't able to open my mouth. And look at me now, I have trouble keeping quiet. But and that's a real miracle and gift of the program, that I have been given that gift to be able to communicate, to be able to articulate and to express myself, to know what I'm feeling, and to share that, and to share my experience, strength, and hope. That's purely in these 12 steps and this recovery journey. So yeah, I went on ahead and did the steps, and for me, my experience was more was revealed that the food I had put down, but more was revealed that I hadn't put down enough. You know, I came to see that, yeah, I was still holding on, and I started doing other things. I started going to restaurants, and oh, look, I'm not eating my trigger foods, but I can go eat at this restaurant, and I can go do this, and I can go do that. And I just pushed the boundaries. You know, my disease was there having a field day. And so another surrender was needed once I'd come into OA, and yeah, got on and did the steps again with a new sponsor, and found food sobriety, found abstinence, found freedom from food obsession after that. And that's been a great gift. That has been an amazing thing, because I didn't think I'd ever get through a day without thinking of food from the moment I woke up in the morning to the minute I slept at night, whether it be eating the food, hiding it, minimizing it, exercising, on a diet, fasting, doing any and all of those things to just, yeah, it was exhausting. It was hard work, you know, being that obsessed a whole way through the day, and a lot of times just would my family not just hurry up and leave so I can get on with the food, you know, because I wouldn't be going out with them for a day on Sunday. It would be just hurry up and leave so I can eat. So yeah, being given my life back as a result of doing these steps. And yeah, maybe it's not even giving my life back in a life, because I really see that it was only in existence before. I really only, yeah, existed from one bite to the next, and now it's living. And what is the difference? The main difference is, like, again, you know, finding a power greater than myself. You know, that quote that I drew from, it's now I've lost where it is, but deep down within is that reality. I'll find the quote now in a second here. Here it is, page 55. For deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God or higher power. It may be obscured by calamity, pomp, by worship of other things, but in some form or other it is there. And there's a very interesting section there for me. By worship of other things, how much I worshiped food, how much I put food at the center of my life. You know, somebody said to me once, you know, whatever you think about most in the day is your higher power. Like, whoa, because I thought about food nonstop. So it's a good test and barometer now. What am I thinking about so much these days? Is that my higher power, or am I actually thinking about that power that is deep down within me? And it's really important for me to give that credit to my higher power, because reliance on myself absolutely didn't work. Because I, you know, as well as having this physical allergy, I had a mental obsession. My head was like, I don't know if everyone knows these kind of boards that you see at train stations that click down all the variations. And as soon as the time changes and all, and it goes click, 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 click. Then it'll click, click, click. Oh, I think there's a bit of background. But, yeah, my head was on overdrive, you know, tumble or wash machine, full spin, restless, irritable, you know, without connecting to my higher power. And what does that look like? You know, that looks like, God, what would you have me do? Who would you have me be of service to? How would you have me be? What would you have me say? You know, and today that looks like, you know, when I'm at work, it's so easy for me to get lost into, be absorbed by the people I'm around, the task I'm doing. And I've found ways of even going to the bathrooms and just having a check in. Okay, God, I'm procrastinating on something here. Is there something I need to do? Is there something you can show me here that I need to be doing to be of service in the best way possible where I'm working? And yeah, I have a 5-year-old son, and I need a lot of prayer and direction to be of best service to him. You know, he is a gift. He is a beautiful light and bundle of energy, but as children do, you know, push the boundaries and come up with all kinds of yeah, things to do. He cut his own hair in school today, you know, so I look, I've done it myself, I'm sure, as a child, but I need higher power's help to go, you know, how can I, what's the most loving thing to do here, higher power? You know, what would you have me do? What will be of most service to him? And, you know, it's my story as well, you know, kind of things that have happened to me in recovery. Like one of the biggest being, my mother passed away, it's 7 or 8 months ago now. And it was after a short illness and a very sudden and unexpected death. And yeah, and the thing that I really have to, you know, share about that situation was it didn't overwhelm me. It wasn't too much for me, you know, that, and I never at any point sought anything in relation to food to help me deal with that. I was given all exactly what I needed at the time that I needed it. And, you know, it's a huge loss. You know, my mum was 66, and it, you know, the script was that she's gonna live till she was 80 or 90. That was my idea. So yeah, lots of 10 steps, lots of service. I was sponsoring 2 people all the time that she was ill and sick, and that was just life. That was just what I did, and got on with doing it. And I connected more and more to my higher power. The week she was diagnosed, 2 weeks before she died, I heard this, somebody shared it on some group, and it was, are you ready for your higher power to get in and take control of the boat? And I just had a laugh, because one of my images was, you know, being called to get out of the boat and to get into the water and, you know, out of my comfort zone. And I always kind of had this sense that I'm being okay, you gotta get out of the boat, you gotta get out of the harbor, you gotta out of the safe stuff, you know, because I'd be playing safe. But I heard this, you know, God's getting into the boat with you. And I was like, wow, that's exactly it. And on my gratitude list for every day for 6 months, I said, God is in the boat with me. And that kept me afloat. That kept me, you know, the storm was bad and I was hunkered down with my higher power underneath whatever shelter was in the boat, and God was there with me. And there were days when the sun was in the sky and the sea was calm and my higher power was there with me, you know, and not in some, I don't know, rainbows and unicorns land. It was very real in terms of, like, reached with me, people held space for me, you know. I was given and sent people to 10 step with that were such a gift to me. And yeah, and what happens now is through the great gift of way prayer, my higher power gives me all kinds of suggestions and ideas, and one of the beautiful ones is eyes on me, Bronagh, because I can have my eyes on so much else. You know, I'm like a mag attracted, you know, see something shiny and I'm off, you know, I'm just a squirrel, a dog and a squirrel, and I'm just off. And my higher power draws me back and says, eyes on me, Bronagh. I don't need to look at the waves. I don't need to look at the storm. I need to have my eyes on my higher power, knowing that my higher power is with me and here, and all is well, and all will be well, and I'll be provided with all that I need. So yeah, there was something else I was going to say there. Oh, it's gone. Let me see. So yeah, eyes on me. So yeah, the other quote then from page 63 that I found helpful is, we had a new employer, being all powerful, higher power, I'm just, instead of the pronoun, higher power provided what we needed if we kept close to higher power and performed higher powers work well. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs, and more we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. So yeah, I just like that analogy of the new employers. You can hear from me, I love images and ideas and ways of understanding my higher power, and having a new manager. You know, did you ever see those signs of under new management? You know, it's no longer the Bronagh show. There's new management that has taken over for me. And being all powerful, you know, that's pretty big to get into consideration. All powerful, because that's what I find. That's what my experience is. You know, through grief, through challenging situations, I have been provided what I needed. If we close to higher power and work well, and there's it there, you know, how do we stay close to higher power? How do we perform that work well? And for me, that is living in 10, 11, and 12. That is continuing to work like this, like my hair's on fire. Like a good friend of mine says, you know, grabbing on with the life preserver, you know, with all the desperation of a drowning person, because yeah, my disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful, and I have mental blank spots. This is what I suffer from. But, you know, if I am doing this stuff of seeing the resentments and fears and writing them down, sharing them out, you know, multiple times a day sometimes. Good people in this meeting have heard me of my 10 steps, and you know, 10 steps on the same thing, because that's how my brain needs to keep 10 stepping it until the freedom comes. And the 11th step of reviewing the day, asking for help, you know, pausing when agitated or doubtful, and then, you know, trying to carry this message, practicing the principles in all our affairs and trying to carry this message. You know, and when I first came into the program, I was scared to sponsor somebody. I was like, oh, I'd be responsible. I couldn't possibly do that. And now I sponsor like it's going out of fashion. I can't can't give it away quickly enough, because it's so good what there is on offer here. You know, when somebody rings and asks about sponsorship, I'm like hands in the air going, yay, you are working your program, you are doing this, because that's where this stuff gets to happen. And for me, the gift for me in sponsorship is I get a front row seat, as somebody else shared, I get a front row seat to see somebody else's spiritual awakening. And that's amazing. That's an amazing thing to witness. And such 5 minutes. Thank you, Tom. That's such a gift to me to be able to be part of. Yeah. So, yeah, life isn't rosy. You know, I don't always perform my higher powers work well. You know, I get distracted and my eyes don't remain on my higher power. And what do? Course correct. It's getting back on, eyes on you, higher power. You know, show me what you'd have me do. Situation today at work, and I could see I was going down a one-way street with a situation of somebody having a problem and dealing, and I was seeing that I was dealing with it in the wrong way, and it was all that I could do to just, okay, stop, reverse, come out of that one-way street. And you know, and a sponsor of mine used to tell me, you know, you've had an experience, can you learn from it and do something different the next time? Because definitely the disease would have a field day with me. You know, you should have said this, and it would have been better if you had said that. And yeah, that's where the full spin of my disease would get in there. My head would be like a washing machine, you know, off to the races. And what is my disease? Me in the corner thinking, oh, you've made a mess of it now. You know, you might as well eat, because that's where it goes. It goes like a free fall. And that's where the food thoughts would have come in. You know, it started like a small snowball rolling down a mountain, and then pretty soon it's an avalanche. You know, so be it food, be it my thinking, whatever it is, you know, it can gather pace very quickly. And if I'm looking at that, I'm not looking at my higher power, I'm not being in the present moment, and I need these steps to bring me back. And the sigh, I always listen for the sigh in other people when I'm out and doing that 10 step, because the sigh for me represents that I'm not in charge. I don't have to be in control of all of this. It's not down to me, you know. And I don't know, when Amanda was asking me, inviting me to do this share, she did. I was just, it was a bit of a test there at the beginning. I was asking, it was 20 minutes, and she said it was 30 minutes, and I said, oh, because I haven't shared for 30 minutes before, and then I was able to write, okay, my higher power says it's under control. So that's the kind of stuff my higher power comes up with. You know, I'm thinking, these are all people I know. How am I going to spend this long talking? And my higher power says, I've got what I need you to share. And yeah, I just show up and something happens. So deep down within, this higher power is, and yeah, for any newcomers in the room, you know, it's a higher power of our own understanding, and it's such a gift to come close to that power and to live life on a different basis, you know, to have thought of other people and to be present with them and to enjoy other people's company, rather than thinking they're not doing what I think they should be doing. They're not, why are they not doing all of this for me? Why are they not going according to my script? You know, I just thought the world was out to get me before I come in here, and I couldn't understand why people were giving me such a hard time. And now I see the same world with a new pair of glasses, and I get to be a mother, I get to be a sister, I get to be a daughter, I get to show up in life and be a friend and be a part of and be in my higher power show. And yeah, what's my next line? What's my next move? And then step back to allow other people their part in it. Because yeah, it's not all about me anymore. So I think I'm running out of road. I think I'm running out of road there. So if I can stop, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bronagh. So we will now open for our question and answer section. And I'm just checking, Cara, I do turn this question and answer session over to you, don't I? Thank you. Sorry, I'm not normally able to get to this week, so it's all weird for me. So we will now open our question and answer section of our meeting, which will also be recorded. Please post your questions in the chat function to our host, Cara, privately, and we will ask a question on your behalf. Cara, I will now turn the meeting over to you, and thank you very much for your service.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bronagh. Everybody give Bronagh a big applause here. Yay. Okay, so does anybody have a question for Bronagh today? I don't know, she covered everything beautifully, didn't she? I'll kick us off, and then you guys get your questions rolling here. Bronagh, can you elaborate a little bit of your step 11 practice for us?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a traditional. I'm on awakening in the morning, and yeah, look, it's been a couple of years in program now. The first couple of paragraphs are automatic in my head. So eyes open, it's on awakening, and yeah, and sometimes for me, what happens is I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and way too early for me to be getting up, but I've learned now that it's prayer first. It's, God, can you help me? Can you help me try to get back to sleep here? Even at 4 o'clock in the morning, that has to be my first thought. But yeah, on awakening in the morning, and a time of prayer, meditation, and then yeah, throughout the day, it's that pause. It's the pause, that when I come out of work, pause when when I'm driving in the car, that just using every opportunity to, okay, what's next? Where are we going next? And connecting in, and even on an outreach call, I'm trying to connect in, and then in the evening, the evening review. So some quiet time and some pause, because yeah, life is busy, and sometimes it feels like a conveyor belt, and it's so important for me to be still and to breathe and to just settle down and see what's happened throughout the day, and see, if there is something that hasn't been shared in a 10 step that needs to be, to share my inventory, my nightly review, and yeah, connecting in that way.
Thank you so much.
But also two-way prayer. I'm a big two-way prayer advocate, and yeah, alone and with other people. Great gift to me for connecting with higher power.
Can you dive in a little bit about your two-way prayer practice, Bronagh? Some people might not be familiar.
Yeah, so it blew my mind. It brought me to the next dimension when I discovered two-way prayer. And basically what it is that starting to take out a blank page and writing a question, or writing dear higher power, and just letting it all out there. And then on the other side, starting to write dear Bronagh, and let it out there. And at first I was very skeptical. I was like, this is me. Am I come up with this? But the thing that sold it for me is because what came back in the answer from my higher power was a very loving, gentle, kind, encouraging voice. And that is not the voice I would speak to myself with, because my internal voice is harsh towards myself, pushing, some disease was right there in there. But the two-way prayer helped me to find and to go deep within to this voice that is kind, encouraging, loving, and gentle. That yeah, it wasn't an automatic response for me. So yeah, highly recommend. So two-way prayer meetings happen and there's a lot of them around. So yeah, with anybody, I'll put my number in the chat if anybody wants to find out more about that, and happy to share more information.
Thank you, Bronagh. I have a question in the chat. How do you manage your step 10 time?
Step 10, as in, well, maybe I'll step 10 time. So maybe the writing of it and the sharing of it, I guess, maybe is that what it's about? I'm assuming that's what it's about, but yeah.
How about how do you do it?
How do I do it? Yes. So I'm very blessed to be part of a step 10 train, and there's a suggested sheet that I have that I go through, and I've been doing it for a while now so that the questions become automatic, and when resentments come up, I can identify it a whole lot quicker to see where my partner is, and the biggest work and the biggest task has been in the justified resentment. I think I am so right here. There is so much in there, and because I have the experience of other people and I get to share this, even when I'm writing it, I still think I'm in the right. They're so wrong. And something happens when I say it out loud, and when I ask God to remove my fear and direct my attention to who you would have me be. And when I pray that resentment prayer of, how can I be helpful to this person? And it's like, whoa, I hadn't been thinking about that at all. I just been thinking about me, myself, and I. So yeah, the writing of it, the sharing of it with another person, with a 10-step train, we are partnered up. I'm given a new partner to call every day, or to call each day for 2 weeks, and then we move on to another partner. So that's a huge gift in living in the solution, to have that structure to be able to work a 10-step. So yeah, great gift.
Thank you, Bronagh. Our next question is, how do you encourage your sponsees to dig deeper with their higher power?
Yeah, like it's a challenge. It can be a challenging thing to connect with a power greater than yourself. I know I had a lot of baggage coming into the program. I guess we all do. We all come from different experiences and faiths and no faith and all kinds of life situations before we come in here. And I guess the thing that I can do is share my own experience, that with a sponsee, to say that I used to think, God, if you did this to your friends, what do you do to your enemies? I had a big old resentment towards God, and yeah, I didn't really want the spiritual aspect of this program at all, because I thought God had just given me a rough deal, and the truth was I wanted God to be Santa Claus and give me all the things that I wanted. So a great person in a way said to me, kind of drew it out of me a lot more, and was saying, well, if you had a higher power in your life, what would that power look like? And and I took time to go away and think about that, and it was a loving power, a power that would want the best for me, a power that was on the sidelines cheering me on, not waiting for me to trip up to criticize or judge me, but cheering me on and wanting that best for me. So yeah, it started from a very simple beginning as well with me, because the first week that I was absent and out of the food was also a week there was a lot of changes at work, and there was a lot of conflict going on, and I wanted to run a mile from all of that. I didn't want to deal with any of it, and I sat in the car park outside the job, and I said, if there's anybody out there, can you just please help me today? So that's as simple as it started for me. And I didn't have to pick up the food that day, and it's slowly grown from there. So small beginnings, as soon as we have enough openness and willingness to open that door, it can grow from there. So good question. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Bronagh. Okay, the next one. Thank you so much for a wonderful share. I'm just working step 11, and I'm looking to strengthen my relationship with my higher power. Can you give me any useful tips on how to relinquish control, like you said, to be under new management?
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think, yeah, again, more ideas and images for me. As soon as I realize I've got my white knuckles on, that I am holding on so tightly, I realize that I'm holding on to my script, or I'm holding on to how I think things should be, or how people should act. And I need to just open the hands. It's like coming up over having a war scenario in mind, that I have come up over the trenches. I have surrendered and my hands are empty. Letting go of everything and everyone, you know, surrender. I love when another fellow says it ends in a render. Surrender isn't an easy thing to do, and more is revealed, and that's why it's a daily thing that we get to practice it today, and then we practice it again tomorrow. Hand my will and my life, my thinking and my actions. That's a lot, but I need that. Yeah, I just can't do without my higher power now. I can't bear to be blocked up from my higher power. I need that sunlight of the spirit. I see how much that power does for me, that it's not worth the resentment. It's not worth whatever I'm getting out of. I just don't want that stuff. I still get stuck in it. Don't get me wrong. But I want to get back into it quicker now. So yeah, look at some of the things mentioned already, meditation, taking time to be silent, started for me with setting a timer on my phone for 5 minutes. Could even be 1 minute or 3 minutes, whatever you can start, wherever you can start from, and slowly grow from there, and just opening that welcoming space for something beyond yourself. And as long as it's not me, it doesn't matter how I define my higher power, as long as it's not me. Because me running the show, it's a car crash, and it has been a car crash. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Our next question is, how do you manage personalities, especially in service and OA?
Well, there's a good question. And in terms of manage, I can't manage anything. I can't manage my own life. I can't manage food. Yeah. When I'm connected with people that think differently to me, and see different things completely differently, I've learned, and I see it as an opportunity to grow for me. An opportunity that I'm like seeing the other person as a gift, because I'm getting to learn and grow in some way through connection and through an interaction with them. And yeah, 10 steps straight away, getting in there if there's an issue or there's a problem for me, because me, myself, and I will get in the way of, why aren't people doing it my way? Why aren't people seeing it the way I see it? And yeah, I need to see my part in that. And yeah, seeing how the other person is who they are, and accepting them exactly as they are, exactly where they're supposed to be on their journey, meeting their higher power to learn exactly what they need to learn. And yeah, that takes 10 steps, that takes prayer. It doesn't come automatically, and definitely there's more than a few people that I've had opportunities to practice this with, and it's, can I see them as their higher power sees them? Can I love them as their higher power loves them? And that's a whole different ball game then, because my higher power always sees good in me, so can I see good in this other person and see how they're doing their best on their journey? And then ultimately that's, the sick man's prayer. I say, this person's a spiritually developing person exactly like me. So we're both spiritually developing. We're on the road together. So yeah, opportunities to practice.
Thank you. Opportunities to practice. Love it. We still have time for some more questions. Does anybody want to pop something into the chat to ask Bronagh? How about while we're waiting for someone, Bronagh, is there anything like any indicators you know that to write a step 10, is there something that like sets you off going, oh, I need to inventory this? Anything? Because I know oftentimes I'll get halfway down the road and I'm like, oops. So now recognizing some of the indicators when I need to write up a step 10, is there anything that alerts you to, I should probably look at this?
Yeah, I usually when I'm thinking about it more than when I spend more time thinking about it, one of the big ones used to be when I have to tell people about it. Can you believe what they did? Can you believe what they said? You know, because I need an audience to tell me how right I am. That's thankfully that happens in my head and I'm about to say it and then I can stop. I get the power to, I get the grace to stop myself now and go do it at step 10. What other ways does it come up for me? Yeah, it's and oftentimes for me, I'm like down that one-way street, you know, and I think the gift of step 10 is doing the practice. And once I've done it, you know, I say, oh, that's that one again of, you know, somebody giving unsolicited opinions. Oh yes, I don't appreciate that. You know, help me reverse out of that one-way street. You know, this person is giving an opinion. Okay, I haven't asked for it, but I haven't appreciated what they've said. So I need to get back in there and see where, you know, I'm being too sensitive to criticism, where I'm, you know, not appreciating whatever their offering is or whatever their suggestion is. And I guess the more I'm sure others would agree, the more you do 10 steps, the more I become very familiar with, you know, the key points for me are, you know, seeking my security and value in other people, what they think of me, what's their opinion, blaming other people for my problems. You know, I don't like having to speak up and have to be honest with somebody, but I just want to blame them for that. And what is it only my part in not wanting to do it and not wanting to have to get honest with somebody? So I guess the more I do 10 steps, the more I can identify it quicker and yeah. But yeah, if I'm thinking about something for too long, it's like red alert. You need to go write this down.
Thank you, Bronagh. Does anybody have any other questions for Bronagh today? No? We can open up. Bronagh, is there anything else you'd like to add to your share today? Anything? Oh, wait. We have the next question. Could you please talk more about step 1? And do you bring it back to step 1 often?
Oh man, I am powerless. I am, you know, I cannot, you know, higher power can. I think I'm going to let a higher power. And for me, it's, you know, once you've been in the program for a while, it's seeing how much more I'm powerless over. You know, more is revealed to me. It's not just the food, it's so many other things. But when it comes to the food, on a daily basis, I'm powerless over food. My life had become unmanageable. You know, I don't know how long ago, it was a couple of months ago, the disease was coming up with, oh, maybe you could actually eat your son's cereal. You know, maybe that's a good choice for you for breakfast. I'm like, what kind of craziness is this? You know, kids' cereal are full of sugar. You know, and these are the healthy options that I tried to choose for him. And I was like, why is that thought even coming to me? But the truth is, it's just the disease, and the disease will come up with a new lie, you know, it finds my weak point. And that was a weak point because I was listening to it, going, oh, maybe I should look at the box again. Maybe this is a good idea. You know, as soon as I entertain it, it's growing like a weed in my head. And and as soon as I was, bringing that to my higher power and saying, okay, this is the lie, higher power, what's the truth in this situation? What's the truth? And the truth is, if I started eating that cereal, the box would be gone within minutes. I'd have eaten that, I'd be on to the next thing. There would be no stopping. And that's where it goes for me, and where does that ultimately go after that binge? For me, it's only the gates of insanity or death. And I've been to both those. Well, I'm been to the gates of death, but been to the gates of insanity and feeling that life wasn't worth living with this disease. So I have seen those gates and I don't want to see them again. I am powerless over food, and my life definitely did become unmanageable, and it can get unmanageable again if I want to go back and do some more research. Definitely for today, keeping it one day at a time. I am powerless, and yeah, look at the disease might come up with a new light tomorrow, and I might be able to identify it or I mightn't, but to the extent, if I'm in this fellowship, if I'm making outreach calls, if I'm going to a meeting, if I'm, like somebody shared, if I chop wood and carry water, if I do these things, get a sponsor, do the steps, if I do these things, then the chance of me getting stuck becomes less and less, because what happens whenever the big stuff comes along, the only thing I know is to get on an outreach call, to write a step 10, and what does all that stuff do? Only reconnect me with the power that is within me, so that I can deal with the situation. So hopefully that answers that.
Thank you, Bronagh. Let's see. Do you favor repeating steps 4 through 9, say yearly, or do you feel like your daily step 10 practice makes it unnecessary?
Yeah, I guess I love what my sponsor says to me. She would say to me, if I brought that question to her, she would say, have you prayed about that, Bronagh? Have you brought that to your higher power? Yeah, look at, I would encourage, when there is a doubt or a question, higher power, what would you have me do? And pause and wait for that answer, because I can ask higher power, what would you have me do? And then I kind of cover my eyes because I don't want to hear the answer, but yeah, I guess for me, I rarely am, I'm sure what I need to be doing. So what other people need to be doing isn't with my field of expertise. So yeah, what would your higher power say? What would your higher power have you do? Connect with your sponsor and see what's, but definitely for me, I've been through the steps a number of times, and but last time was in a way was 2 years ago, and because I'm sponsoring people, I'm regularly in the steps of reading the big book with people as they're going through it. So yeah, I guess that's when we're of service to the people and we're going through the big book with other people, we get that opportunity. But yeah, what would your higher power have you do? What's the most loving thing to do?
Thank you, Bronagh. How do you balance service work and your life?
Excellent question. I love it. That's a real power shock for me. Yeah, it's finding that balance. It's finding again, what's the most loving thing to do? Because yeah, I want to help everybody, and then there's nothing left for me. It's like I go around pouring out other people's cup of water, and then I get to pour my own and there's nothing left. That's no good, because then I can't work my own program. And so it is important to find that balance. And yeah, and look at it's a trial and error. And again, I remember asking my sponsor, should I take this extra sponsee or should I do this service position? And she calmly and very kindly repeats over and over, have you prayed about that, Bronagh? And not in a condescending way at all, in a very kind and loving way. She'd ask me if I've prayed about that. And so yeah, and like the good thing for me is I do get opportunities for service, and it's a great joy. And I get other opportunities to be in life, and that's a great joy, you know, being with my family, being with friends, doing things I love. And yeah, getting to be part of life, not with a duvet over my head because I can't deal with this stuff. You know, I get to be out there in the world, and yeah, that's a joy. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Bronagh. And that brings us to the end of our time with you today. I know we all thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, a little applause for Bronagh here from everybody. Yay. Now I will turn the meeting back over to Charlotte.